Hey guys, a happy Saturday. Jo here of SportsGrid. It's time for a Puck It with Jo. We've got a ton of games to go over. There's one game in action as well, so we'll look at those live lines and see if there's an opportunity to jump into that one. Loaded a slate today. Today's going to be the last day of hockey until next Wednesday, so there'll be no shows for a while here, but I want to wish everyone firstly a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope you have a wonderful and safe time with all of your friends and family. I also want to remind you, if you're looking for any of my plays in the NFL, you definitely want to check out the SportsGrid app. There's one loaded for my Chargers game tonight over there, and there's so much you can find there. Last night I was on Sports Rage, so there's actually a clip of us talking about baking cookies, stuff like that. You're going to have a lot of laughs following everything over on the SportsGrid app, but you're also going to make some money. There's free bets, free props all up there as well. So good afternoon, everyone. Let's make some freaking money. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. It's hopefully going to be a wonderful Christmas. Okay, let's start off with the first game here. This game is playing out right now. The Dallas Stars and Nashville Predators are in the second period. Second period just opened up and all the lines have locked up. I'm not sure if someone was able to score a goal. I don't have that game. I actually have the bowl game on with Duke and Troy right now, with Duke leading that one. So everything's locked up. We'll see what this opens back up at. In the meantime, let's get to the next game here. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers. Now, this is a rematch of the Stanley Cup Finals last season, and you know the Florida Panthers have this one circled, and they're going to be coming for blood in this one today. Now, they're minus 150 favorites. Money has been coming in on them. Plus 125 here for the Vegas Golden Knights. Total 6.5. Now 6.5 at minus 108 to the under, minus 112 to the over. I do think this one is a lower scoring game, but one that the Florida Panthers can win. I like what we've seen out of this defense as of late. They've been doing a really solid job at limiting opponents' ability to get those shots on goal. I think we will see them come out really strong defensively, and both of these teams will try not to make those mistakes. David, thank you for being here. Merry Christmas to you and your loved ones as well. So I'm looking for a defensive battle. I like that first period under 1.5. I think both of these teams from the very get-go come out with a strong defensive mindset. Now, Thompson expected here for Vegas and Bobrovsky for the Florida Panthers. So both of these teams have been really solid at locking down on that defensive side of the puck. The Florida Panthers allowing an average of 2.63 goals per game. 27.1 shots on goal, which is third best overall in the league, and their kill strong at 82.5%. Now, when we look at the Vegas Golden Knights, their defense also holding opponents to 2.68 goals per game and 29.7 shots on goal. Their kill as well, strong at 81.8. Now, while the power play is stronger for the Vegas Golden Knights, Florida's not that far behind them. And I do think we'll see a clean game out of both of these teams because they know they can't give the other opponent that extra man opportunity on the ice. So this is going to be a good one. Let's see if the lines open back up. Yeah, the Dallas Stars and Nashville Predators. Predators have scored that first goal. So it is a 1-0 game right now. Live odds over on FanDuel. Overreaction majorly. So we look at going into this game. The Dallas Stars were around a minus 130 favorite. The Nashville Predators, a dog at home at plus 110, plus 112. The books have reacted to this one goal coming in by the Nashville Predators. And we all know it's not the end of the day for the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars are now plus 180 on that money line. So if you like hedging in these games and you had the Nashville Predators going into this one, this is a nice opportunity to grab the Dallas Stars at that plus 180 mark in the chance of them coming back. And as we talk, this value keeps going down. It's now plus 172. Plus 180 again. It's fluctuating, you guys. Minus 235 here for the Preds. Now you can also look at the Dallas Stars if you're looking to put in a quick parlay. Plus the 1.5 at minus 162. I do think this one is still live to go over this. And I also think this game still has the opportunity of going to overtime. It is plus 350 for this game to go to overtime here. We've seen the Stars push so many games to OT, and this team is one that does have the chance of coming back. So that 5.5, I think it's light in this. You're getting plus 150 to the over 5.5. The under 5.5 is minus 194. That's pretty gross. But we just started the second period. There's nothing saying that this one can't go over that total. Let's get back to these games coming up, though, you guys. We'll keep an eye on that one and see where that goes. But I would take it over the 5.5, and I would take the Dallas Stars at plus 180 with the value you're getting on them at the moment. The Boston Bruins taking on the Minnesota Wild. Now, the Bruins have lost their last 3 games, and they're rolling into this break on that losing streak. They desperately need this win tonight, but can they get it here versus the Minnesota Wild? We know these two teams just did match up on February 19th, so it's the 23rd today. It was a 4-3 win in OT for the Minnesota Wild. I do think this game has every opportunity of playing out exactly the same way. 4-3 Wild win in OT. We look at the Minnesota Wild, they're coming in at plus 110, minus 132 for the Boston Bruins, and a total of 5.5. This 5.5 juice to the over at minus 128 and plus 104 to that under. It's a hard game here to take to the under, but I do think the values on the under, but with the possibility of going to overtime, I can't take it there because if this one goes to overtime, I think this is a 3-2 game. Boston ties it up. That 3-2, if Boston doesn't tie us up, keeps us under. If they tie it up, push it to overtime, which I like the opportunity more, then this one goes over that total. So a little bit of caution with that total. If you can get a 6, that still won't help you because if they push it 3-3, that goes to 6. So I would stay off this, but I do think the Wild can win it again. I'm going to take the value on the home dog. The Bruins have lost 4 of their last 5 games. They're just not playing in great form right now. And while they have won 7 of the last 10 matchups versus the Minnesota Wild, this team is rolling hot. They've won their last 5 games at home, and I think they go into the break surprising everyone because no one thinks, everyone, as soon as Boston loses 1, it's like Boston can't lose 2 in a row. Well, Boston's now lost 3 in a row and 4 of their last 5. I think they lose this one. They'll come out strong out of the break. This team is ready to go on Christmas vacation. This is the second night of a back-to-back as well, and they lost last night to the Winnipeg Jets. We had the Winnipeg Jets, by the way, last night. I hope you cashed on that one. And we've seen the Minnesota Wild. They've won their last 2. They got that win in overtime. I hated they got the win in overtime versus the Montreal Canadiens on Thursday because that cost me a bet, but they did a beautiful job in OT winning that one 4-3. Let's look at the next game here on a deck. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. This one kicking off at 7 o'clock Eastern. Now, let's just look at current lines here. Toronto coming in at minus 230. Huge favorites for a team that was just blown out of the water with the defense. Goaltending issues. This team absolutely struggling right now, but taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. And we know the struggles with the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're coming in at plus 188. You guys, I hope you rode Duke today. I got them plus 7.5 earlier in the week. They were plus 6.5. I forgot to sprinkle on the money line before this game kicked off. They completely destroyed the game. Won at 17-10. Anyway, there's my squirrel. Okay, so the Toronto Maple Leafs minus 230. We have plus 188 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Total 7.5. This is a huge number here, but rightly so. The Buffalo Sabres just put up 9. Yes, you heard me. 9 goals on the Toronto Maple Leafs, plus 134 to the over 7.5. And I absolutely could see this being a 5-4 game all day long. Like I said, Toronto just lost to the Sabres 9-3. Samsonov got pulled, and this team still allowed 4 goals. So I don't know what's going to happen to Samsonov. I'm pretty sure he's going to be sent down. Martin Jones is confirmed in net for Toronto, but I actually believe in Samsonov more than Martin Jones. And Tarasov confirmed here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, the last time these teams played, it went to overtime, and the Columbus Blue Jackets won it in overtime, 6-5. So this 7.5 at plus 134 to over isn't unreasonable. You can look at some team totals here if you're looking at a team total for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And this is a team that I trust to get the goals. We know this team is so strong offensively. This team averaging 3.57 goals per game. Their power play connecting at 25.8%. Columbus still has pretty solid numbers. They're averaging that 3.15, so they're over that 3 mark. that would help push us. And I think they find enough goals here to push us over the 7.5. But if I look at the team totals, the 2.5 for the Columbus Blue Jackets grossly juiced at -152 on FanDuel. But you can take the 4.5 plus 118 for Toronto, and that seems so high. But their ability to get these goals, they did put 3 up on the Sabres. With Tarasov in here, I do think they can get those 5 goals. A little bit of a stretch, though, especially if we see them up and Columbus really not having an opportunity to get back in that game. And then I could see Toronto really dropping back in a strong defensive game and giving Martin Jones that support and just playing kind of a keep away game. So 4.5 is a hard total to bet, but you know what? Toronto could come out and get 3 goals in that first period. So what I'm going to look at here is the first period over 1.5. It's too juiced, you guys. The puck line here for Toronto. I think Toronto comes straight out of the gate, finds the back of Tarasov's net, and does cover the puck line in the first period. That's coming in at +118. You're only laying the half a goal there. I do like both teams to score in the first period at +134. We talked about Toronto. We talked about their issues defensively. They're allowing an average of 32.6 shots on goal per game. Their kill is only at 78.3. And they're allowing an average of 3.43. And Martin Jones, like I said, I just don't have the faith. And we look at the Columbus Blue Jackets. They were able to put up 2 goals on the Washington Capitals, which has a much stronger defense than the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I do expect the goals to come here on Martin Jones and them to be able to get an early one in that first period for us. I think if I had to go with anything, that favorite bet would be Toronto on the puck line after getting embarrassed in the first period and just like isolate that first period. And then Austin Matthews, he's been an absolute machine. He's racking up those goals. I believe he has 26 goals on the season, which is leading the league. So him for the anytime goal, you're going to lay juice. It's going to be -110, -112. But I do like Austin Matthews to come out and get that anytime goal tonight. 7.5. Yeah, I do like the 7.5s. I think 7.5 is an easy number for us to hit. Merry Christmas to you, Jeff, as well. Yeah, we got Marc-Andre Fleury in that for the Minnesota Wild. Could be a few shootouts today. I think we have some shootouts for sure. Thank you for saying I look festive. It's going to be a great day here today, you guys. Let's get to the next game here. What do we got next? We got the Detroit Red Wings. Now, the Detroit Red Wings, Patrick Kane has been absolutely phenomenal in the last couple games for this team. They're taking on the New Jersey Devils. Now, the Red Wings scream, like completely scream value. I can't believe they're +162 here versus the New Jersey Devils, who are -200. $2 favorites. This team does not deserve to be that big of a favorite. Total 6.5, -148 to the over. You gotta fire that number up if you want to find value. It's +120 to the under. If you can get to an under with these two offenses, I can't get to the under with these offenses. Both of the offenses have that firepower, have that talent to make this a high scoring game. So you'd have to take an over 7.5. Will it get that high, though? I don't know. Now, we've got a kind of an unknown here. Hutchinson has been signed to a deal with the Detroit Red Wings. Now, we look at him coming into this. He signed a 1-year deal, and it was just a couple of days ago. He was with the AHL team, the Grand, I can't remember their last name, but he was with them. He had a 2.98 goals against average, a save percentage of 0.895. Now, if he was a younger goalie, I'd have a little bit of concern with this contract signing here. And I don't. He's 33 years old. You know, he's been in and out of the league, up and down, all over the place. And I do think he can do enough in this game for the Red Wings maybe to get the win. I just can't look past the value here with the Red Wings. And now the New Jersey Devils are phenomenal. Nothing against them. Vanacek expected in goal. But you look at this team, they've lost their last 3. They lost to Edmonton at home 6-3. And with how the Red Wings are clicking, I do think they have the opportunity. I can't say no to the value. So this is all about value. The last time these teams played as well, the Red Wings completely derailed the Devils' ability to find the back of the net. They shot them out. They got that 4-0 win. And I don't know. You know, the Devils have won 3 of the last 4, but the value. I just can't get behind them. You look at them on the puck line, they're 1-5 on the puck line at home. So they were a -160 favorite earlier in the day, and now a -200, $2 favorite. I just can't get behind them. So it's the Red Wings or nothing. At this price, I do think you look at Patrick Kane again. He got 2 goals and an assist in that last game with 5 shots on goal versus the Flyers last night. And this is a game they got up, and they got up really quick. So maybe looking at the Red Wings in the first period to do what they did last night, getting up nice and fast. And we know this New Jersey Devils team is going to fight to the very end. They don't want to go into the Christmas break with 4 straight losses, but I very well think that could happen. Now, I do think this is a good one for player props and hitting that over if you can get better value on the over. Jasper Bratt on the power play for the Devils has been incredible. I would look at him tonight, the power play point coming in at +200. Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes, that anytime goal for Luke Hughes is screaming a value here. But Patrick Kane, Alex DeBrincat, you guys know how many playmakers there are across these two teams. And that's why that over 1.5 first period, both teams to score in the first period, and then the Devils to lose that first period and the Red Wings to win that first period on the puck line is basically where I'm going with this one. Okay, let's look at the next game here. We have the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Ottawa Senators. Now, the Senators, we know they fired their coach, but they fired their coach on a road trip. So they have yet to win. And this is 3-4 games since the firing of their coach. But again, they have been on the road. This is their first game home. They're coming in and they're a -118 favorite. I don't love that line on them. I wish they were an underdog coming into this one versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, the Penguins on the road at -102, total 6.5 at -128 to the over +104. To the under. I think if there's a way to isolate the Ottawa Senators here and where I think they can win this one, it would be in that first period. I'm looking for them for a little bit of new life here in that first period, covering that puck line in the first period, and that's coming in at extreme value at +168. I don't know if they can win this full game. The Pittsburgh Penguins have been playing incredible. Sidney Crosby is so strong, and I do think this is a game where they haven't had very much time at home. They lost their last 6. The last one was to the Avs 6-4. And this team has been falling apart, but they have been getting these goals. And the problem with that is they've been getting them, but they've been allowing them as well. We look at a Pittsburgh Penguins team that has been putting up a lot more goals as of late, but they're still only averaging 2.81 goals per game. So this isn't a team that comes in and you're known for seeing them get these huge wins. Now, the last game was versus the Carolina Hurricanes. They won that one in a shootout 2-1. So they try to play a really strong defensive game, lock down their opponents. But I think as long as Brady Tkachuk, and this is as long as, you guys have to hold your breath here, stays out of that penalty box, the Ottawa Senators have every opportunity if they can play more stronger defense to be able to pull this out. Now, Forsberg is confirmed in net for the Ottawa Senators. I do like Forsberg. His numbers aren't great. His save percentage is .876 and his goals against average is 3.23. So look for this one. Look for the Ottawa Senators to come out strong out of the gate, cover that puck line with that value at +168. Brady Tkachuk, his shots on goal, anytime goals. I do think this one goes over that 6.5 because the Penguins have the ability to find the back of the net. And like I said, the Ottawa Senators just can't keep anyone's pucks out of there. Let's do those safe bets. I like the safe bets. Wings back home last night, away tonight. It is hard going home, away, but I just like what we've seen out of this Detroit Red Wings team. They definitely have been playing some strong hockey. I love Patrick Kane out there. He's been phenomenal for them. Let's look at the next one here. We have the Tampa Bay Lightning. Firstly, the Predators have scored another goal. That is a 2-0 one right now. So you can look at the Dallas Stars at +430. It's taken the Nashville Predators all the way up to -670 favorite. That total of 5.5. We're eating away at that number. I've got the over for this game. The over 5.5 at +130. You've got to think here, if the Dallas Stars can even get a goal, this number is going to go up to 6.5. So I do like the 5.5 to the over. The next game, like I said, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning, a team I really can't trust on the road. They're coming in at minus 150 here, and I don't trust this team defensively on the road. Plus 125 for the Washington Capitals, total 6.5. Now, minus 120 to the under 6.5, minus 102 to the over. And while I can't trust the Lightning of defensively on the road, I still don't think this one goes over that total because the Washington Capitals are a team that really likes to lock down on the defensive side of the puck. Now, Charlie Lindgren is confirmed in net for them. I'm going to look at his save shots on goal because this is definitely a number I want to check out. Charlie Lindgren has a 2.40 goals against average and a 0.927 save percentage. So I'm hoping his number is coming in at 28, 29.5 for Charlie Lindgren because I will be taking that to the over. I'm just pulling it up right now. We got Andre Vasilevsky coming in at 26.5. I wouldn't touch that. And Charlie Lindgren, 27.5 to the over at minus 112. And I absolutely love that all day. You look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they've got a really strong power play. It's converting at 30.9%. The Washington Capitals, though, I do think we see play a cleaner game. The Lightning are averaging 30.7 shots on goal, and the Caps are allowing those shots to come in at 31.1. I do expect the Lightning to put at least 34 shots on Charlie Lindgren, and I think this game goes under that total. I don't see him allowing a lot of goals coming in. So give me Charlie Lindgren over 27.5 save shots on goal. Also, give me the Washington Capitals here. The value on them at home, I cannot pass up. I think the Washington Capitals at home at plus 125 is too good not to take against this defense here. The defense of the Lightning allowing 3.5 goals per game, 31.1 shots on goal, and their kill coming in at 79.4%. We know the Capitals need this to be a lower scoring game to be able to get the win. At least in my opinion, I could see this being a 3-2 win for them, staying under this total. I just think Charlie Lindgren is so strong, and the kill is actually pretty strong here for the Caps as well, coming in at 82.3%. So give me the Capitals to roll with that momentum. They have won their last 3, you guys. They got a win on Thursday versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. That was an overtime win, 3-2. I really could see this one going exactly the same way. And I know the Lightning have been getting those wins as well. They got the win over the Vegas Golden Knights on Thursday, 5-4. But I do think here on the road versus the Capitals, off that win versus Vegas, I just don't see it happening. The next game on deck, the Buffalo Sabres coming into New York to take on the New York Rangers in the Garden. Minus 176 here for the Rangers. Total 6.5. 6.5 is minus 110 to the over and the under. It's interesting looking at these two matched up. Now we know the Buffalo Sabres won the last matchup in November, 5-1. But the game prior, it's interesting to see that the Rangers won that one. That was back in October, 5-1. Now, the 4 games prior to that have been tight games. All 4 of the last 4 games before these two. So the 4 before the 2 all went to overtime. This game to go to overtime tonight's coming in at plus 370. It does scream value. And if you do think these two teams play a tighter game here, especially with the Rangers, having played last night versus the Edmonton Oilers in a tough fought battle. They lost that game to the Oilers 4-3, but I do think the Oilers would have worn them out quite a bit. And I think the Sabres, even though they beat them in the last one, the Rangers know they beat them in October. This is kind of back and forth looking battle here. I think it's tighter than this number. I just don't love the puck line here for the Buffalo Sabres. Otherwise, I would take it because the value is just not on that puck line. But you do look at them. They've been strong on the puck line on the road, 11-7. And like I said, the last 2 games were 5-1 games with each team winning one of them. The 4 prior, all to overtime. So in all of those games, you would have got that puck line cover with the dog. And I do think the dog here in the Buffalo Sabres is the right way on that puck line. Just can't lay that juice. So give me this game to go to overtime. That first period, I would look for these goals to actually come in. I think they come in nice and quick in this one. Okay, Let's look at the next one. Yeah, what Rangers team will show up? It is very, very true. Merry Christmas, Danny, to you as well. You've always got to ride with Ovi. Get Ovechkin for that anytime goal. His shots on goal have been absolutely phenomenal right now. So I love that you're going there. And the Capitals have been so good to us as of late. So remember that team on the back-to-back. And you're right, Buffalo has the momentum right now. Okay, next game. We have the New York Islanders taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, the New York Islanders at plus 150, minus 182 for the Canes, total of 6.5. Now, it's plus 106 to the over 6.5, minus 130 to the under. And I wish we didn't have to lay as much juice to the under because I do think this is a lower scoring one. Where we're going to find more value on that under is that first period. If you just isolate the first period under 1.5, that's coming in at minus 104. And now I know it's hard to take those unders in the first period and the full game, but I do think it's the right way to go with this. We've got Sorokin in net for the New York Islanders, and I do trust in him. And while I don't trust on the defense here, the defense allows him to be absolutely peppered, especially against the Carolina Hurricanes, who averaged 33.8 shots on goal per game, which is fourth best overall in the league. I think he can do enough in this game. I think he's going to stand on his head. And this one is a game where in that first 5 minutes, we don't see a goal. In the first 10 minutes, we don't see a goal as well. So let's look at the value on the first 10 minutes, no goal in the first period. I know these are hairy to take, but we have been cashing these. So you got to hold your breath. It's not pretty. No goal in the first 10 minutes of this game is coming in at plus 120. We just have to keep our fingers crossed. Neither team hits quick. And I do think the under 1.5 at minus 104, that is the best bet of this one. Now, the last time these two teams played, the Islanders won in OT. It was a 5-4 super high scoring game. That was back in November. The Canes are off that loss to the Pens, 2-1. A shootout loss, and you look at the Islanders, they had a low scoring overtime loss as well to the Capitals in that 3-2. I expect this game to be very, very similar. These two teams to go to overtime, that's coming in at plus 360. The last three meetings between these two teams have gone to OT. So there's a lot of opportunities for overtimes between lots of teams today. This is another one. I do think these two teams play at that slower pace a lot of the time, especially the Islanders. They're going to try to lock down a little bit more. This team needs to clean it up defensively, especially on the road. And I do think we see a bit of that here before going into the Christmas break. So give me the under 1.5 in the first period. Give me no goals in the first 10 minutes of plus 120. And let's hold our breath that cashes. Okay. Got to talk about two teams I really don't want to talk about. We got the Seattle Kraken taking on the Anaheim Ducks. I don't love this game. Let me just get current odds up here at FanDuel because I was just looking at those first periods. We've got Vegas and the Florida Panthers. They just kicked off. It's still scoreless in that first period there. The Seattle Kraken and the Anaheim Ducks. We've got the Kraken rolling in at minus 142 plus 118 for the Ducks, total of 5.5 at minus 130. Neither team has been, offensive juggernauts out there on the ice. We have the Seattle Kraken rolling in, starting Joey Decord in net. Now he has a 2.56 goals against average, and John Gibson coming in here for the Anaheim Ducks with a 2.59. I do think in this one, with these defenses, with what we've seen out of both of these teams, with how low scoring their last couple games have been, that we can actually see the Seattle Kraken open up in this one. I expect the Kraken to be able to find the back of John Gibson's net here. This is a Ducks team that's defense is allowing 32.1 shots on goal per game. Yes, their kill is strong at 80.4, but they're still allowing an overall average of 3.38 goals. They're off that loss in their last game at home to the Calgary Flames. They got completely shut out 3-0. So I can't target them here to help us with that total, but I am going to look at the Seattle Kraken. They won that last game over the Kings, and the Kings are so much stronger defensively than the Anaheim Ducks. They were able to put 2 goals up versus the Kings. Their schedule has been hard as of late, you guys. That the shootout loss versus the Kings, 3 games ago, and then they had an overtime loss versus the Stars, and then they got this win versus the Kings just in their last game. So I do think it's been hard, and they've been playing really hard defenses. I think they can open up on the Ducks. You can look at their team total over 3.5. It's coming in at plus 124. Seattle's won the last 3 matchups, so you could look at them on. Let me see what those odds were on the money line again. Minus 142 on the money line. It's getting a little pricey for me. I'd look in reg. I don't see this one going to OT, but I do think that first period, high scoring, the Ducks might get one of those goals. I'm not going to bank on it by taking the both teams to score, but I will take the first period over 1.5. That's cashed in the last 6 matchups between these two teams, that first period over 1.5 goals. So it could be the Kraken, and then we're halfway for them getting over that 3.5. Leaning Seattle's. Yeah, who can trust? Yeah, I agree. And who can trust the Ducks, right? Okay, let's look at the Chicago Blackhawks taking on the St. Louis Blues. Let me just find odds on this one. Chicago coming in up plus 210. Now they're on the back-to-back. We got the St. Louis Blues at minus 260. We know this is another team that fired their coach. They did lose that first game on the road. They won their first 2 home games, lost 1 on the road, then won 1. So this team has been doing great under the new coaching. We're getting them at minus 260 though. So puck line minus 1.5 at minus 105. We have this the Chicago Blackhawks plus 1.5 at minus 114. Total 6.5. That under is juiced at minus 120. These two teams have seen lower scoring games between the two of them. Now, Thunderbloom is expected here for the Chicago Blackhawks, and Binghamton confirmed here for the St. Louis Blues. I think the St. Louis Blues, it's too hard to go against them here, but it's kind of like, where are we going to find value? I don't even like the value in regulation. You're still not getting enough. I do like that first period. I like that first period at home for them to come out strong on that puck line. They just have to control Connor Bedard, because we know some of these games, it's like Connor Bedard comes out so fast, scores, and then Chicago's done for the night. As long as St. Louis can do that and comes out strong defensively to start this first period, I do see them finding the back of Sonderblom's net and them being able to win this first period. So that puck line first period, laying 0.5 goals plus 118 for the St. Louis Blues in this one. And it is a revenge game, because we know that the Chicago Blackhawks did win the last meeting. That was back on December 9th. It was a 3-1 game, and they are on the back-to-back, and they lost last night to Montreal. We had Montreal that plus money. I tell you guys, if you saw that game, Chicago went up. It was a great place to live bet Montreal to be able to come back. Please, please, please always watch for that. I know we didn't get it with Montreal versus the Wild, but it's something. If you live bet these games, if you're watching, Montreal fights to the very end. Okay, let's look at the Arizona Coyotes taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Now, the Arizona Coyotes on the road at plus 176, minus 215 for the Avs, total of 6.5. Now, the 6.5 is minus 122 to the over. Where I'm going to isolate this game is that first period. I think both of these teams come out strong and firing in that first period. I like the first period over 1.5. We know Colorado at home has been phenomenally strong. They're sitting 13-4 at home. They're 11-6 at home on that puck line. And the Arizona Coyotes, they have shown their struggles on the road, but this is a young team that comes out and they give it their best each and every game. They never give up as well. Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley. We've got so many playmakers, and we know the Avs do too. Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar. The list just goes on for Colorado. They are the stronger team, and they deserve to be the bigger favorite in this one. But the Arizona Coyotes did win the last matchup. They won that in OT 4-3. They pushed Colorado in these games. Now, they play this game here, and it's Saturday, December 23rd. So they play here in Colorado on Wednesday when the teams go back. They will be playing again in in Arizona. So I do think this is kind of flip-flop. Whoever wins this one in this one will lose the next one after the break. I think your better chances of taking the Avs to win this game, probably on that puck line, 11-6 on the puck line, and then Colorado after the break to be ready to start things off on the right foot in Mullet Arena and be able to keep it tight and get the win there. So I don't love Colorado on that puck line, but I do think that is the right way to go. I love the first period over 1.5, though. It could even be Colorado getting both of those goals in that first period. You guys, we have only 2 more games to go over. Let's get to them right away. Sondenblum in goal, St. Louis -1.5. Yeah, I hear you, because Sondenblum has just been allowing those goals to come in for the Chicago Blackhawks. So it is a nice way to look at St. Louis with this coaching change. Like I said, this team only lost that 1 game so far. So they played, I believe it's 4 games under the new head coach. And that one was that first road game. So tough spot for sure. Okay. We're at the point we're talking about my Calgary Flames. My Calgary Flames taking on the LA Kings tonight. Battle of the Pacific. This is going to be a great one, you guys. I am so nervous for this one for Calgary. They're coming in at +130 here. Calgary has turned things around as of late. We know that they've been getting these wins. -156 here for the LA Kings. I love both of these teams, and I'm not going to lie. The Kings are my second favorite team behind Calgary. And they don't hurt me as much. So maybe they should be my favorite team. We've got a total of 5.5. Now this 5.5 juice to that over at -130 to the under +106. I'm going to look at this first period. While I keep stressing to you that Jacob Markstrom can be hit so quickly, since he's come back from injury, I believe it's like 56 or 58 shots have been fired on him. He's only allowed in 1 goal. I think this first period here in LA stays under the 1.5. True defensive battle between these two, battling it out in the Pacific. The under 1.5 coming in at -105 in that first period. I do lean for this full game to stay under that total. It screams 3-2 defensive battle for me. Calgary's won their last 3, and they've been winning these games by locking down, playing a strong defensive game. They got the shutout versus the Ducks in that last game. And yes, it was versus the Ducks. It wasn't the firepower here of the Kings. I don't expect Markstrom to get another shutout, but I would look at his save shots over that total. Calgary holding opponents to 29.7 shots on goal per game. Their kill is strong at 82.7, but the LA Kings roll in here. Their power play converting at 20.8%, third best overall. And they are also averaging 33.9 shots on goal. This team will come out firing. It is going to be a real big test for Jacob Markstrom. Now, can the LA Kings score first in this game in the first period? That's something before Markstrom came back from that finger injury. I was betting. I'm not going to take it here. I'm going to stay off it because I do think this could be a scoreless first period. And if we take the Kings to score first in the first period and they don't score, it's not like we took them to score first in the full game. So we will lose that bet. They're off that loss to Seattle in a 2-1 game as well. I think also the no goal in the first 10 minutes. Let's just look up the value on that. I think that is definitely worth it here. But again, you got to hold your breath because Markstrom has to stay in the same form he's been playing in these last 2 games. Because if he goes back to his old form, we will get that goal by the Kings. And we'll get that goal by the Kings really quick in this game. So hold your breath. You got to have faith in Jacob Markstrom here. A no goal the first 10 minutes at +112. We don't get extreme value for how long we're going to almost pass out trying to watch this game. But I do think that under 1.5, best way to go. So, because then it can come early and it doesn't matter. The Kings in their last 10 games have only averaged 2.5 goals per game and they've been averaging 37 shots on goal. So this will come down to Jacob Markstrom. They're getting those shots. I'd look at Jacob Markstrom's save shots on goal as well. Let me just see if I can get a number on this because I wasn't able to before. No, we're still getting nothing here. Cam Talbot has been confirmed for the LA Kings. Now his number coming in at 25.5. And this is really interesting for Cam Talbot at 25.5. Calgary only averaging that 31.6, and especially against a defense like the LA Kings, who are holding opponents to 26.4. I think this number is just too tight to it. While Calgary might get a couple more opportunities, I would take that number under before over. And it's not because I think Calgary is going to score a bunch of goals. It's because I think the defense for the Kings really stands up tall. And Calgary doesn't get enough to push us to that over. I keep thinking back to the Minnesota Wild game. And I know Calgary has looked better since the Minnesota Wild were in Calgary. But I was there in that first period watching that game. And I was absolutely losing it because Calgary had only had like 5 shots, or was it the Heritage Classic? That first period, though, for Calgary, the amount of limited shots they were able to get versus Wild and versus Edmonton, both those games under double digits in that first period. So I don't trust Calgary enough to get those shots on goal tonight on Cam Talbot against a defense like this. That's a long story short. I know I went off on a rattle there. Okay, last game. The San Jose Sharks taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver, clearly the better team here. We have the San Jose Sharks. Let me just pull up these odds, you guys. I just got to get out of those goalie props. Okay, updates in those games. Preds still leading the Dallas Stars 2-0. 0-0 still for the Florida Panthers. Kings with 1 minute left in that game. The San Jose Sharks. Plus 235 for the Sharks. Minus 295 for the Vancouver Canucks, total 6.5 at minus 110 either way. Now, if you think the Sharks can keep it tight, plus 1.5 at plus 102, I lean that way, you guys. The Vancouver Canucks minus 1.5 at minus 122. Now, the Sharks did win that last matchup 4-3. We know the games prior, though, Vancouver won both of them. They were able to win that first game 10-1, blowing the Sharks out of the water when the Sharks were on that terrible losing streak. And that second game, Vancouver covered that puck line, winning it 3-1. So we've had Vancouver be able to cover the puck line in 2 of the 3 matchups, except for the last one on November 25th, which was a 4-3 win for the Sharks. I think in this one, this is a hard spot for the Vancouver Canucks. They are returning home from a 4-game road trip. They went 2-2 on that road trip, and they their losses came in overtime. So they played really hard games to be able to try to get these wins. One was an overtime, one was a shootout, loss after overtime. So I think it's a hard spot. I do think the goals come in no matter what. So I like the over 6.5 in this game. The over 6.5 is coming in at minus 110. So I think there is value. I can't believe this is already their 4th matchup of the season. It's kind of mind-blowing there. The over in 8 of the last 10 matchups between these two. Now looking at goal scorers here, Thomas Hertl for the San Jose Sharks, you know, he's the automatic go-to. He is the one player that really is finding the back of the net. Then if you look at the Vancouver Canucks, I don't blame you if you just take Canucks props tonight. Quinn Hughes, we always look at Quinn Hughes for that anytime goal. Offensive defenseman here who's able to find the back of the net. JT Miller, Brock Besler, and Elias Pettersson here. So phenomenally strong. Now, I like Pettersson for the power play goal tonight or the assist. I think he should be able to get us those power play points, and I do think the assist will come in. So that's what I'm liking, you guys. It's going to be an interesting night. Yeah, if the Sharks keep it close, it has to be over. And that's exactly what I'm thinking as well. I think the Sharks can keep it tight. But, you know, you look at the Sharks plus 1.5 at plus 102. I just don't think there's enough value in that. I just think Vancouver off that trip. So I think if you like the Sharks at all, you got to take the plus 235 on that money line. And then live bet this game if the Sharks go up, taking Vancouver, kind of hedging it and getting both sides of it. Yeah, Sharks possibly keep it close. A pillow game, a snoozer. Which game is that? There's going to be a couple of snoozers on the board for sure tonight. But you guys, that's it. I'm on Game Time Decisions. Make sure you join me tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, all the way to midnight. Scott Wetzel and myself. We got great guests coming on tonight. Like every night, we will be talking all of these games live and what we're going to jump into. We're also going to be looking at the full NFL slate for tomorrow. We'll be talking the live game. My Chargers playing against the Bills. Again, if you want my bets in that one, you guys know I got to put some sort of play on my Chargers tonight, but it is over on the app. So go over, check it out. There's lots of funny clips as well from all of the shows and informative clips as well, and player props bets over there. And you can follow every single host, so you'll be able to see what they're liking, see what they're betting. But you guys, Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. I want to wish you all the best. This is the last Puckett before Christmas. We will be back when the games kick off again on Wednesday. I can't believe how quickly this year has been. And I want to personally thank each and every one of you for being here on the daily with me for Pocket with Jo. I kind of feel like a little bit emotional because if it wasn't for you guys, this show wouldn't be possible. But you guys are absolutely the best. Thank you for all of your likes and comments, everything that you post, and have a Merry Christmas. We will see you on December 27th. Make sure you're just kind to everyone. That old cranky neighbor across the street, maybe bring them some cookies. That's what I did. Try to butter up my neighbors with some cookies this Christmas. But you guys have a good one. Keep smiling. Let's make some freaking money out there on the ice tonight. I will see you on In-Game Live Overtime, 8 p.m. to midnight. We'll see you there, guys. Bye now.